to another installment of the 15-minute Florist. Today we continue our Core 4 training and we're going to tackle Customer Service 101, one of my favorite topics. So we're glad to have you with us again. Hope you've been exploring the entire library. We have topics on design, we have topics on business, so there's lots to keep you educated and entertained. Here are your teachers. That's me, Tim Huckabee. Sam, say hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Sam. Okay. Well, like we said, today's topic is some basics and some core fundamentals on customer service. We have 4 important topics that we want to discuss with you, and we're going to have Sam take the lead. All right, Sam, all you.
So one of the big things about customer service is that first impressions count. So when you're answering the phone, and this also applies to when you're helping walk-in customers, it's kind of like we've discussed in the past. When you walk in, customers assume that you're an expert because you're representing the business. Well, this is even more basic than that. Don't forget that you are the face of the business to the customers with whom you interact. And the first impressions that you make upon them are first impressions you're making on behalf of the flower shop. So it's really important that you keep that in mind before you pick up the phone. Now, we all know that a flower shop can be a wild and fun and crazy place to work. In fact, today, our entire shop came to a halt this morning, and we all stopped to go out into the parking lot because we had some excitement. We got a new dumpster delivered, and everyone wanted to go see how pretty it was. So I get that it can be crazy, it can be frustrating, but when the phone's ringing, before we pick up the receiver, we need to take a deep breath and center ourselves and make sure we're prepared to make a good first impression. So here's a tip that we want to share. Basically what I just said. Take a deep breath, center yourself, and make sure you're remembering that you don't know what you're about to deal with. You may be picking up the phone and immediately taking a sympathy order with someone who's in tears and is devastated to even get through the process. So make sure you're prepared to make a good first impression.
I want to add to this that a big part of what we do here at Floral Strategies is make mystery shopper calls. And Sam and I have listened to dozens, if not hundreds, of mystery shopper calls where thankfully the people on the other end really don't know that they're being mystery shopped. And it's interesting because when we make these calls, we never intentionally will call a store the day before Valentine's Day or December 23rd. That's dirty pool. But when we call, a lot of times we'll get flower shop, like somebody's exhaling instead of taking a breath, they're exhaling. And if you're the customer, that's going to immediately, you know, just make you think like, well, what's going on there? Like, are they too busy to take my order, or they all sound like bored and fatigued? So you don't realize how much of that opening statement does make an impression upon a customer. So yeah, it sounds cliched, but first impressions definitely do count. Let's take a look at another interesting fact regarding customer service, and that is that we need to be patient. And gosh, there's so many different types of customers and customer situations. My advice is always be patient. Let them finish speaking before you begin speaking. This isn't that chronic of a problem, but Sam and I, again, in our mystery shopper calls and just working out and about in various stores, we've seen and we've heard this happening, and it's just poor form. What I also would add to this is the idea of just general telephone common courtesy. And 2 examples. When I'm taking a call and a customer is asking to speak to a manager or somebody else in the store, I'll ask that customer, may I place you on hold? I'll ask them, may I tell her or may I tell him who's calling? And maybe you're not used to using that type of grammar, but it is proper grammar, and it makes us sound more polished, more professional, and it makes a stronger impression upon the customer. And it's critical. We want to endeavor to do everything we can to kind of set ourselves apart from the competition. So our tip for you regarding patience is set the tone of the call, and when you're speaking to a customer, also acknowledge to them that you're in sync with them and you're paying attention by using phrases such as, I understand, and of course, and gladly and easily, and my pleasure. And this is where the generational difference comes in. I don't like using the words no problem or no worries with the customer for the simple reason they still involve a negative word. But Sam, what's your millennial take on that? You don't see it as big of an issue, correct?
Well, I certainly agree with you that they're negative words and you could avoid them. I just don't think it's probably the end of the world. Obviously, colloquially, both those things have slipped into our use quite a bit. I think it's funny that the New Yorker is the one saying he doesn't like that, because that sounds like a very New York thing to me to say, no problem.
It is. I guess the takeaway, no matter what you want to say, is especially when you have a customer that's maybe giving you a long list of things that they need, make sure that you shake it up so you're just not saying the same thing all the time to the customer. That's really about the subtlety and the nuance of this situation. All right, Sam, let's come back to you for some wisdom and guidance on the next fact.
Yeah, so the third thing that we want to talk about today is customers need to be able to tell from the way we're interacting with them that we're actually giving them our attention, that we're actually meeting them where they are, that this order is very important to them. We take orders all day, so it's just another order for us. But for somebody, I've used this example a couple of times. Maybe it's a funeral order and you have to take your time and spend a little more time with some of those. But even if it's somebody's anniversary or it's mom's birthday, this is a big deal for them. It's important to them, and they should hear in our voices and hear in us that it's important to us that we get to be a part of that day, that special celebration as well. So our tip for you here is keep some powerful phrases ready, such as "I'm so sorry for your loss," or "That's so exciting," or "What a birthday! This is so great! Congratulations!" And it's kind of easy to remember. A natural place to make these kind of comments is actually is after you take the card message. Even a card message that just says, "I'm so sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. I'll try not to mess up again." So there's obviously a lot going on there. That's kind of awkward. Even something like that, I'll say to the person, "Well, flowers make everything better. We'll make sure we create something beautiful for you." So it's just a chance to check in with the customer, meet them where they are, and they can hear you. They can hear that you're acknowledging how important this is to them. Kind of tying back to a point Tim was making earlier, nothing hurts my heart more than when I hear my own staff in a recording or when I'm making test calls around the country and the call goes something like this. They say flower shop and I say, "Hi, my name is Sam. I'm calling because my aunt passed away. I can't make it to the funeral and I want to make sure some nice flowers are sent there." And the first thing they say back to me is, "What funeral home's it going to?" Or what's the deceased name? It just seems so cold, so callous that you can't even acknowledge the grief of someone. So it's important that customers know we're meeting them where they are.
I'll add to this that we're not saying that you need to sound like, oh my gosh, let me go get a box of Kleenex. I can't believe your grandmother passed away. You need to sound realistic, but this makes such a strong impression on customers. It really is, it's almost impossible to communicate that to you. I'll give you another example. When I take the occasional greeting card and the sender is telling me, "Oh, we're sending flowers to the hospital. They just had a baby," and they're maybe saying on the card message something like "Grandma and Grandpa," I'll jump in and I'll ask. I was like, "Oh, is this your first grandchild?" They say, "Yes, it is." "Oh, congratulations! It must be so exciting to become grandparents." As they say, "No, it's our third." "Wow, lucky you." So it's like those little tiny snippets. It can be spontaneous, they don't have to sound rehearsed, but it makes such a strong impression on the customer because they feel as though, wow, I'm calling a professional. I'm calling somebody who's empathetic, somebody who's sympathetic. And also, what you're communicating to them is that you literally have kind of put blinders on yourself, even if you're standing in the middle of a busy store, because you're just laser focused on this particular customer and their particular needs. Okay, let's look at another fact. And for number 4, I decided to consider this one the most important because, again, it's something that I don't think we hear exercised well enough. And believe it or not, it's just the idea of saying thank you. And some of you listening to this or watching this might think, oh, we say thank you all the time. here's my point, that now more than ever, consumers have lots of choices for buying flowers. They can go to other flower shops, they can go to big box stores, they can go to a farmer's market, they can shop online. So we need to be even more appreciative of the fact that they've opted to call us. And thanking somebody for their business goes a long way. And as I say in the last sentence in this red box, always make time to do it. It takes 2 seconds, literally 2 seconds to do that. But I'll take a step further, and my tip is that endeavor to personalize the sale. Pardon me, personalize the thank you. And I'll say, for example, thank you for calling us to help you to celebrate her birthday. You don't need to do it this way. This is a nice extra touch. And the whole idea of customer service, again, is going above and beyond what everybody else in town is doing. Sam, what was your take on it? Because you said something, you made a good comment when we were discussing this about funerals. You've got yourself muted, Sam.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't even remember what I said. Remind me.
Well, when we're talking about when you take an order for a funeral, pardon me,
Oh,
when you
yes, 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 yes. Okay, that's enough of a reminder. Yeah, especially like I already mentioned, a lot of times when I'm taking a funeral or sympathy order, I realize I'm gonna have to slow down a little bit. I'm probably not gonna get through the order as quickly as I normally do, and that's totally fine because a lot of times people are just a little bit slower. It's not uncommon when you say, "What do you want to say on the card message?" that they might get choked up, and so it's important that we again show we're human beings and let them take their time and also remain professional and help them get the order completed. So I think what you're referring to is when I often wrap up by saying, I want to thank you for entrusting us with this order and entrusting us to be a part of this special celebration of life for this person who meant so much to you. We're going to make sure we create a fitting tribute for them. And I think that those kind of things go a long way with people.
Indeed, partly because this is such an important order, and partly, on a very practical level, because often somebody's spending an awful lot of money on a funeral. And if they're calling from out of town, they want to know that they made the right decision, that they called the right flower shop, that this is going to be well taken care of. And this is just one more eloquent and elegant way that we can communicate that to a customer. So let's do a recap on these 4 critical customer service points. First and foremost, always sound focused, alert, and happy when you answer the phone. Sam and I were discussing how that he's in Southern California, I'm in New York. Both of these places are just notorious for horrible traffic. So there are times when by the time you get to the store, you're pulling your hair out. But if you were a customer, you would never know that, because when either of us answer the phone, it's immediately this chilled, relaxed, happy vibe that the customer gets, and that's important. Also, remember, a little patience goes a long way with customers. Let them finish, and even when the customer is talking over you, that's okay. Bite your lip, let them finish. Take the high road. Remember that we don't want to just take an order and mechanically just kind of type everything in the computer or scribble it down on an order pad. Listen and engage the customers and acknowledge that you understand why they are placing an order with you today. And finally, remember to thank them. Thank them sincerely, personalize the thank you when you can. It will make a stronger impression on the customer and more or less ensure that they're going to come back and order from us again. So if you have any questions about this material or any of the programs, reach out, call the office, send us an email. Please do join our Facebook group. Just search the 15-Minute Florist. We've got lots of other titles for you to explore in our library, and that grows every single month. And we look forward to seeing you on the next class. So just keep on learning. Thank you.